From your first breath, you've been taught a lie so fundamental and omnipresent that you've confused it with truth. A lie that is the foundation of all your suffering, all your struggle, and all your frustration. The lie is this: that effort is the key to success. We've been indoctrinated into the cult of effort. Fight for your dreams, chase your goals. And so we've spent our lives pushing, forcing, struggling against life's current, believing that our willpower's strength is what bends reality. But what if I told you that you've been pushing with all your might against a door that only opens inward? What if the very act of trying were the reason you don't get what you desire? What you're about to hear is knowledge of the great reversal, the most paradoxical, most hidden, and most powerful law of creation. The law of reversal that Florence Scovel Shinn kept for her most advanced students. This message won't teach you to work harder. It will teach you to stop struggling. It won't give you new techniques to chase your dreams. It will reveal why you must stop chasing them so they can finally reach you. You'll learn to manifest from surrender, create from certainty, and receive from fullness. We'll dismantle one by one the myths of force to reveal the silent power of flow. Before continuing, write in the comments, "I accept the law of reversal." This declaration is your entry to forbidden knowledge. By writing it, you join a secret brotherhood of creators who have discovered the power of effortless manifestation. Each person writing this phrase strengthens the abundance energy field, benefiting our entire community. Prepare to unlearn everything you thought you knew about power. Chapter 1. The Cult of Effort. To walk this new path, we must first dismantle the cathedral in which we've been indoctrinated. We must examine with relentless honesty our era's silent religion. We must speak of the cult of effort. No sacrifice, no reward. Success requires hard work. No pain, no gain. Perseverance conquers all obstacles. If at first you don't succeed, try again. These maxims aren't simple advice. They're dogmas of a faith so omnipresent we don't recognize it as such, so normalized that its commandments seem evident and immutable truths, like the law of gravity. Florence Scovel Shinn discovered we've been taught to venerate struggle, glorify sacrifice, and see exhaustion as a badge of honor. We believe life is a battle, the universe an indifferent or even hostile adversary, and our only path to victory is through Herculean willpower, through incessant effort that bends reality's resistance. And this belief, this cult, is the fundamental cause of our unhappiness and mediocrity, because it keeps us rowing furiously against a current that, if we would only surrender to it, would carry us to our destination with grace and speed we could never achieve through force. The genealogy of struggle. Where does this cult originate? This paradigm wasn't born from nothing. It's an inheritance, a program installed in our collective psyche through centuries of conditioning, religious and philosophical roots. In many traditions, the idea of original sin or primordial fall installed the belief that earthly life is punishment, a valley of tears we must endure with effort and sacrifice to perhaps earn reward in the afterlife. Work wasn't an expression of divine creativity, but condemnation. You shall earn bread by the sweat of your brow. The Protestant ethic, with its emphasis on hard work and austerity as signs of divine election, solidified this idea in Western culture's heart. The Industrial Revolution and time equation. The Industrial Revolution was this cult's great accelerator. For the first time in human history, a person's value was directly equated with hours spent in a factory. Time became money, and effort was measured in sweat, production, capacity to treat one's own body as a machine. We inherited this industrial software and applied it to all areas of our lives, believing the number of hours we invest in something is directly proportional to the result's quality. Social Darwinism. Finally, a popular misinterpretation of Darwin's evolution theory gave us scientific justification for struggle. The idea of survival of the fittest was taken from its biological context and applied to human society, creating a paradigm of ruthless competition. Life became a jungle where only the strongest, most aggressive, those who struggle most, survive and prosper. These three great currents, sacrifice theology, industry mechanics, and competition biology, have converged to create our era's central dogma. Life is a struggle, and only through effort can one win. The neurochemistry of effort addiction. This cult isn't just an idea, it's an addiction. Our body and brain become chemically addicted to the struggle cycle. When we face a challenge and overcome it through effort, our brain rewards us with a dopamine surge. It's a powerful drug making us feel good, giving us a sense of achievement. And like any drug, we want more. We begin seeking increasingly bigger challenges, imposing increasingly difficult goals on ourselves, not necessarily for the achievement's value itself, but to get our next dose of triumph chemistry. Additionally, constant struggle keeps us in a state of low-grade stress, with chronic cortisol and adrenaline production. This cocktail, though toxic long-term, can feel like being alive short-term, like having energy, like being in battle's heat. We become addicted to drama's intensity, to the feeling of being the hero struggling against all odds. Peace and calm, for the stress addict, feel strangely boring, almost like death. This addiction is what prevents us from seeing the law of reversal's truth. We've confused struggle's euphoria with creation's true joy, the mediocrity of effort. Why struggle doesn't work. If effort were the key, people who work hardest would be richest and happiest. And often we see this isn't so. The cult of effort, paradoxically, often leads to mediocrity. Why? Because it exhausts your creative resources. True creativity, inspiration, genius aren't born from a stressed and exhausted mind. They're born from play, relaxation, space, silence. By living in constant effort state, you maintain yourself in high-frequency beta brainwaves, the analytical and survival mind state. In this state, it's impossible to access alpha and theta waves, the subconscious mind states, where creative solutions and quantum leaps reside. You become very good at solving the same problems the same way, but lose the ability to see a completely new solution. Because you become blind to shortcuts. When you're rowing with all your strength against the current, all your attention is focused on effort, on the next stroke, your head down. You don't have perspective to see that perhaps just 10 meters to your right, there's a side current that would take you to your destination with 1/10 of the effort. Because it emits the wrong vibration. The universe, as we know, is a mirror. It responds to your state of being. When you operate from effort, your state of being is struggle. Your vibration is, this is difficult, I have to force it. Life is a battle. And the universe, which is an obedient servant, proves you right. It presents more obstacles, more resistance, more reasons to struggle. Struggle becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. The first practice, the effort fast. The first act of rebellion isn't doing something new, but stopping what's destroying you. You must begin with a fast from unnecessary effort. Identify your main struggle. Take your journal and with brutal honesty, identify the area of your life where you're applying the most effort and getting the least results. Is it in your career, a relationship, your health? The pause vow. In that specific area, and only that for now, you make a vow. For the next 7 days, you commit to stop pushing. You don't abandon your responsibilities, but you abandon struggle's energy. If it's at work, you stop staying late simply to appear busy. You do your work with excellence, then go home. If it's in a relationship, you stop trying to convince the other, trying to fix them. You simply show up with authenticity and observe. This fast is profoundly uncomfortable. Your mind, addicted to effort, will scream that you're lazy, that everything will collapse. This is withdrawal syndrome. Your only job is observing this panic without reacting and maintaining yourself in your vow's stillness. The second practice, the search for ease. During this fast, while creating a vacuum of non-struggle, you begin retraining your perception. The practice is hunting for ease. Your reticular activation system has been programmed for years to seek and validate the belief that life is difficult. Now, you give it a new order. Each day, your only mission is finding and noting in your journal at least 3 examples of things that occurred with ease, grace, flow. They can be incredibly small things. I found a parking spot right in front. The conversation with my colleague flowed effortlessly. I had a creative idea while showering. At first, your mind, expert in difficulty, will have to struggle to find these examples. But with practice, like a muscle that strengthens, it will become increasingly better at detecting ease. You're literally rewiring your brain to start seeking and expecting grace instead of struggle. The third practice, the art of receiving. Finally, the most potent antidote to the cult of effort is the art of receiving. Struggle is born from the subconscious belief that we don't deserve things if we haven't earned them through suffering. The practice is radical acceptance of gifts. When someone offers help, instead of saying, "No thanks, I can do it myself," breathe and say, "Thank you, I accept it." When someone gives you a compliment, instead of deflecting it, look them in the eyes and say, "Thank you, I receive it." When life presents a small synchronicity, an unexpected moment of grace, don't dismiss it as coincidence. Pause, acknowledge it, and whisper internally, "Thank you. I'm open to receiving more of this." Each of these acts of receiving, however small, is a declaration you make to your subconscious. You're teaching it at a cellular level that you're worthy of receiving good without having to struggle for it. You're healing the wound of unworthiness, which is the root of the cult of effort. Chapter 2. The Physics of Resistance. At this mystery's heart lies a law we've already touched, but which we must now contemplate in all its relentless precision. The universe isn't like a mirror. It is a mirror. And this mirror doesn't reflect what you want. It reflects what you are. This isn't a poetic idea. It's a principle of consciousness physics. Your dominant state of being, the sum of your thoughts, and above all, your habitual feelings, emits an electromagnetic signature, a frequency. The quantum field, which is a resonance field, is obligated by its own nature to organize energy and matter to correspond with that frequency. The mirror doesn't judge, it simply reflects. And here is where the trap of trying and wanting reveals itself in all its tragic irony. The act of wanting, a declaration of lack. Let's analyze a desire's anatomy. When you want something desperately, what's the underlying state of being? What's the true song you're singing to the universe? The song is absence. The act of wanting something intensely is born, by definition, from the deep and felt belief that you don't have it. Your attention isn't on your desire's presence. It's on its painful absence. And this consciousness of not having generates a cocktail of low-vibration emotions. Anxiety. What if it never comes? Impatience. I want it now. Frustration. Why isn't it here yet? And often, envy seeing others who do have it. This symphony of lack is the true signal you're emitting. Your words may say, "I want abundance," but your vibration, your energetic signature screams, "I don't have abundance." And the universe, which is deaf to your words but exquisitely sensitive to your vibration, obeys the most potent order. It reflects your state of not having, manifesting more circumstances that validate that same lack. It's like chasing your own shadow. The more you run toward it, the faster it flees from you. Your very act of pursuit is what creates the distance. Trying, a declaration of potential failure. Now let's analyze trying's energy. The word trying is one of the most sabotaging in our vocabulary. It contains in its very DNA the seed of failure. When you say, "I'm going to try to do this," you're not declaring your commitment to success. You're declaring your awareness of failure's possibility. You're telling your subconscious, "This is difficult, and I might not achieve it." The subconscious, which is a literal servant, doesn't hear the doing part. It hears the doubt, the hesitation. And receiving such an ambivalent order, it either paralyzes or, following the path of least resistance, your old patterns, leans toward the failure you've admitted as a real possibility. The creation of counterforce. The universe abhors imbalance. Newton's third law of motion establishes that for every action there's an equal and opposite reaction. In consciousness physics, a similar principle operates. When you push the universe with need and effort's forced energy, the universe, by law, pushes back. Your very struggle creates the resistance you experience. Imagine trying to open a door. If the door opens inward, and you, in your anxiety, push it with all your strength outward, it won't just not open. You'll feel the door opposes immense resistance. The problem isn't the door, it's your effort's direction. Florence Scovel Shinn taught that the initiate in the law of reversal understands that the obstacle they feel isn't in the external world. It's the echo of their own misapplied force. The paradox of attention. Finally, resistance physics manifests through the law of attention. What you focus on expands. When you're in a state of desperate wanting, where is your attention really? It's not on the vision of your fulfilled desire, it's on the problem. If you desperately want money, your attention is fixed on the pile of bills, the negative balance, the feeling of scarcity. If you desperately want a relationship, your attention is fixed on your loneliness, past relationship pain, the absence of love in your life. By focusing all your consciousness's potent light on the problem, you're feeding it, making it bigger, more solid, more real. You're literally using your divine power to build the walls of your own prison, then wondering why you can't escape. The first practice, transmuting, wanting into being. The alchemist doesn't try to stop wanting. They know that's just another form of effort. Instead, they practice transmuting desire into assumption. Their practice is assuming the feeling of fulfilled desire. You take your desire, and instead of projecting it toward the future as something you want, you bring it to the present as something you are. You ask yourself the question that changes everything. How would I feel now if this were already true? And you deliberately cultivate that feeling in your body. If you seek financial security, you don't focus on money. You focus on cultivating here and now the feeling of security. If you seek love, you cultivate the feeling of being loved. By doing this, your vibrational signature changes radically. You stop emitting lack's frequency and begin emitting fullness's frequency. You stop being the beggar who asks and become the king who already possesses. And the universe, which is a mirror, must reflect your new state of being. The second practice, dissolving, trying into inspired action. The master doesn't try to act, they allow action to arise. Their practice is receptivity to inspired action. Once you've assumed your fulfilled desire's state, you don't anxiously ask, "What should I do now?" You create a space of silence, trust, and wait for the hunch, the internal impulse that feels light, easy, and obvious. That's action without resistance, because it's the universe moving through you. Forced action feels like rowing against current. It's heavy, exhausting, and often ineffective. Inspired action feels like being carried by current. It's effortless, energizing, and produces miraculous results. The third practice, dissolving resistance with non-resistance. Finally, the alchemist knows the fastest way to dissolve a wall is to stop pushing it. Their practice is active non-resistance. When an obstacle appears in your path, when your senses' reality presents evidence contradicting your desire, your instinctive reaction is resistance. You tense, get frustrated, angry. Florence Scovel Shinn taught that the initiate does the opposite, accepts the circumstance not with resignation, but with superior wisdom. They understand this obstacle isn't an enemy. It's part of the bridge of incidents carrying them to their destination. Their practice is blessing the obstacle. Facing an unexpected bill, instead of cursing it, they bless it. They say internally, "I bless this bill as proof of abundance's circulation in my life. I thank the universe for always giving me resources to cover all my needs." This act of non-resistance, radical acceptance, removes all negative energy from the obstacle. And often, by stopping fighting against it, the solution appears in the most unexpected way. Resistance physics has been deciphered. You've understood that the force holding you back wasn't the world, but your own misapplied effort. You've learned that power doesn't reside in pushing, but in being. Chapter 3. The Fraud of Asking. We've been taught to ask. We ask permission, ask for help, ask forgiveness, and we've transferred this model to the divine realm. We pray to an external God, a separate universe, asking it to grant our desires, save us from our circumstances. Prayer in its most common form is an act of begging. It's the energetic posture of the orphan, the helpless, the one who doesn't have. We kneel, join hands, and plead. And though this posture is born from humility, in the universe of energy and vibration, it's a disaster. Florence Scovel Shinn discovered a brutal truth through the law of reversal. The universe is a mirror, not a benefactor. It doesn't respond to your please pity. It responds to your being's truth. And when you ask for something, the truth you're declaring, the vibration you're emitting with every fiber of your being, is lack. The act of asking is the most powerful affirmation of I don't have. Asking for money is affirming your poverty. Asking for love is affirming your loneliness. Asking for healing is affirming your illness. And the universe, which is a perfect, non-judgmental mirror, hears your powerful declaration of I don't have, and obediently returns a perfect reflection of that same lack. It gives you more of what you already are, a person who needs to ask. This is asking's fraud. It's the belief that we can reach fullness through lack's practice. It's a metaphysical impossibility. The 3 lies of supplication. To free ourselves from this trap, we must dismantle the 3 great lies on which the act of asking rests. The lie of separation. The first and most fundamental lie is separation. The act of asking instantly creates duality, an I that asks and an other that gives, a small, powerless I and a big, powerful universe. This perception is the root of all exoteric religion. It keeps us in a state of inferiority, always dependent on an external force's grace. The truth of forbidden metaphysics that Florence Scovel Shinn taught is there's no separation. You're not in the universe. You are the universe experiencing itself at a focal point. The force you're asking isn't out there. It's within your own interior. It's your subconscious intelligence, your higher self's divinity. Asking the universe is like your right hand pleading with your left hand to give it something. It's an absurd act born from forgetting that both hands are part of the same body, the same power. The lie of unworthiness. The second lie feeding supplication is unworthiness. One only asks and begs for what one doesn't believe they deserve by their own right. The beggar's posture is a declaration of unworthiness. They expect charity, pity, or another's grace to grant what they don't feel entitled to claim. This vibration of undeservingness is a direct counterorder to any desire for abundance. You can consciously desire wealth, but if your energetic posture is the beggar's, your subconscious understands your true identity is unworthiness and will sabotage any opportunity for wealth to maintain coherence with that root belief. The truth is, abundance, health, and love aren't rewards you must earn through good behavior. They're your birthright, their being's natural state. A prince doesn't beg his father, the king, for his inheritance. He claims it. The act of asking is an abdication of your royal lineage as universe co-creator. The lie of future realization. Finally, asking's third lie is it always places your good in the future. The phrase, please, is a declaration that your good isn't here now. It's always coming. And by living in this state of waiting, longing for a future that will save you, you're programming your subconscious to become a master of waiting. You become an expert in almost, in soon, but never in now. Creation doesn't occur in the future. Creation can only occur in the eternal present. By projecting your desire into the future through supplication, you keep it forever, one step away. The first practice. From beggar to king, identity shift. The first act isn't a technique, but an identity change. It's the conscious decision to abandon the beggar's energetic posture and adopt the king's. The beggar kneels. Their energy is contractive. Their voice is pleading. Their feeling is need. The king sits on their inner throne. Their energy is expansive. Their voice is serene command. Their feeling is certainty. This isn't arrogance practice, but self-recognition. It's the act of remembering your true nature as a center of universal consciousness with inherent power and authority. Before any act of creation, you adopt this posture. You sit or stand with straight back, breathe deeply, and for a moment feel your own sovereignty, your divine right to create. The second practice, the art of sovereign decree. The king doesn't ask, they decree. The creator doesn't yearn, they declare. The practice is sovereign affirmation. A decree isn't a weak, hopeful affirmation. It's a declaration of a truth that's already fact on the consciousness plane. It's forged with a power structure. Begin with power recognition. Often, a powerful decree begins recognizing the power source. By the power of my divine being, or from my identity as universe co-creator. This immediately aligns you with your true nature. Declare truth in the present, then declare your desire as an accomplished fact in the now. Not, I will have, but I am, or it manifests now. Instead of, please give me health, the decree is, from my being's perfect intelligence, I decree radiant health as my only true reality now. Instead of, I want to find love, the decree is, by the power of the love I am, I decree the manifestation of my perfect, harmonious relationship now. Instead of, I need more money, the decree is, from the infinite abundance source I am, I decree that prosperity and wealth flow to me in expected and unexpected ways now. The third practice, gratitude as royal seal. The beggar asks, then waits anxiously. The king decrees, then gives thanks. Gratitude is proof you know your word is law. It's the royal seal closing the decree. After pronouncing your declaration, you don't seek a sign, don't wait for proof. You immediately enter the feeling of deep gratitude for its fulfillment. Thank you, because it's already done. This act of anticipatory gratitude is the signature sealing the decree. It tells the universe there isn't a trace of doubt in your consciousness. You've issued the order and now rest in certainty of its execution. Asking's fraud has been exposed. You've abandoned the beggar's posture and reclaimed your throne. You no longer ask the universe to give you your good. You recognize you are your good source, and from that place of power, simply declare your truth. Chapter 4. The Fertile Void, the Power of Surrender. We must now explore the most paradoxical power of all, the power found not in doing, but in not doing, the power residing not in fullness, but in emptiness. Welcome to the fertile void, the power of surrender. The void paradox, the cup's wisdom. Our Western culture suffers from horror vacui, fear of emptiness. We associate emptiness with nothingness, lack, boredom. We feel a compulsive need to fill every moment, every space, with noise, activity, something. A silent mind terrifies us. An empty space seems unproductive. But Eastern wisdom, especially Taoism, teaches us an inverted truth. A cup's usefulness doesn't reside in its walls, but in its empty space, which is what allows it to be filled. A room's usefulness doesn't reside in its walls, but in its emptiness, which is what allows us to inhabit it. A wheel's usefulness doesn't reside in its spokes, but in its axle's emptiness, which is what allows it to turn. Emptiness isn't nothingness. It's the space of potentiality. It's the blank canvas before painting. It's the silence from which music is born. It's creation's womb. And in manifestation art, the act of deliberately creating a void in your consciousness, a space of non-effort, non-control, surrender, is the first and most crucial step to allow universal intelligence to fill that space with a reality surpassing your greatest dreams. Wu-wei nature, effortless action. Ancient Taoist sages coined a term for this state of superior creation, wu-wei. It's often translated as inaction or non-doing, but this translation is misleading and has led many to passivity. Wu-wei doesn't mean laziness. It means more precisely effortless action or action without struggle. It's the art of acting in perfect harmony with the universe's natural flow, with the Tao. It's the wisdom of knowing when to act with total precision and when to do absolutely nothing. To understand it, let's return to the parable of the sage and river. The person operating from the cult of effort is like the young man trying to cross the river by frantically rowing against current. Their action is forced, full of tension, and produces frustration and exhaustion. The Wu-Wei master is the sage who lies on the raft, releases the oars, and surrenders to current. It's not an act of defeatist passivity. It's an act of supreme intelligence. They recognize the river's force is immensely superior to theirs, and instead of fighting it, ally with it. They use the universe's own power to carry them to their destination. Florence Scovel Shinn taught that intelligent surrender isn't giving up. It's surrendering the how and when to superior intelligence. It's the act of faith that once you've established your destination, your decree, the universe knows the fastest and most elegant route to take you there. A route your logical mind, with its limited vision, often can't even conceive. It's the act of getting out of your own way. The first practice, creating the void. The master knows they can't think their way to surrender. They must create space for surrender to occur. Their practice is receptive silence. Meditation as non-doing. Meditation practice in this context isn't an act of concentration, but an act of releasing. You sit in silence and your only task is releasing. You release the need to control your thoughts. You release tension in your body. You release your agenda for the day. You create for 15 minutes a space of pure receptivity, a void. Listening in the void. In this silence, you're not trying to think of a solution. You're creating necessary space to hear the solution that often comes as intuitive impulse or inspired idea, a universe whisper that can only be heard in stillness. The second practice, the art of open hand. Once you've issued your decree, once you've established your intention, the master practices the art of open hand. They know they can't receive a gift with closed fist. This is the practice of detachment from outcome. The release clause. After declaring your desire, you silently add a release clause. Universe, I accept this or something better, for my highest good and that of everyone involved. This simple phrase is an act of humility and trust. It recognizes your ego has limited vision, and universal intelligence may have an even grander plan for you. It frees the universe to surprise you. Trust in the how. You completely release the need to know how your desire will manifest. That's not your task. Your task is maintaining the what, the vision, and the who, your state of being. The how is the universe's domain. By releasing control over details, you allow synchronicity and miraculous pathways to manifest. The third practice, the body's compass. To navigate in Wu-Wei flow, to know when to act and when to wait, the master doesn't use a map, they use a compass. And that compass is their own body. The practice is somatic intelligence. Before taking important action, you take a moment, close your eyes, bring the action idea to your mind, then bring attention to your body and ask, does this action feel light or heavy? Lightness, expansion, a yes sensation in the body, is the signal that action is aligned with Tao flow. It's effortless action, inspired action. Heaviness, contraction, a visceral no sensation is the signal you're about to row against current, that action is born from ego and not inspiration. The master learns to honor this compass above logical mind arguments. They know the body never lies. The fertile void has been revealed to you. It's no longer nothingness to fear, but everything to allow. Surrender's power has dismantled your need to control. You've learned to release the oars and trust the current. You've learned the greatest power doesn't reside in your hand's strength, but in your heart's openness. Chapter 5. Silent Certainty. The state of being. While you remain in the state of wanting, you'll remain in effort's game. As we've seen, wanting something is a declaration of its absence. It's a frequency of lack. It's the beggar's prayer. The law of reversal that Florence Scovel Shinn taught shows us the universe doesn't give you what you want. It gives you a perfect reflection of what you are. The initiate in this forbidden knowledge doesn't try to stop wanting. They know that's just another form of effort. Instead, they practice the art of assumption. Assumption is silent certainty's operating principle. It's not positive thinking, not fake it till you make it. It's the art and science of assuming the feeling of desire already fulfilled. It's the act of inhabiting in your imagination and body the state of being of the person who already has, already is, and already experiences what you desire. You stop being the seeker, chasing a future. You become the creator, embodying that future in the present. The physics of I am. The assumed state's power. This isn't a psychological trick. It's application of consciousness physics. The quantum observer and state. As we know, the quantum field doesn't respond to what you observe, but to the state from which you observe. If you observe your reality from the state of being, I'm poor and need money, your consciousness, charged with that frequency, can only collapse into your experience events corresponding to poverty and need. If you observe the world from the state of being, I'm rich and secure, your consciousness, now charged with abundance frequency, will begin collapsing events corresponding to wealth and security. The universe doesn't change. What changes is the observer. And when the observer changes, observed reality is obligated to change to reflect it. The act of assuming a new state of being is the act of becoming a new observer. The subconscious as literal engine. Your subconscious mind, manifestation's great engine, doesn't understand futures. It only understands now. Its only function is expressing in the external world your present identity's truth. And your present identity's most powerful declaration are the words, I am. When you live in the feeling of I am successful, your subconscious accepts that identity as its new directive, and since its job is maintaining coherence, will begin directing your actions, perceptions, and synchronicity flow to align with a successful person's reality. You no longer have to try making correct decisions. From the state of being successful, correct decisions become obvious and intuitive. Feeling is the secret assumption isn't an intellectual exercise. It's somatic embodiment. It's the act of generating, through your disciplined imagination, the real and physical feeling of fulfilled desire. This emotion is the electromagnetic signature tuning your being to that reality in the quantum field. It's the ink engraving the new image on your subconscious holographic plate. Let's imagine two people who want to be charismatic speakers. Person A, operating from the cult of effort, tries to be charismatic. They practice speeches, study body language techniques, repeat affirmations. But inside, their state of being is a nervous person trying to be confident. And the audience, which is a perfect vibration detector, doesn't respond to their words. They respond to their anxiety. Person B, an initiate in the law of reversal, ignores their current nervousness. Their practice occurs in their mind's silence. Each night, in the drowsy state, they enter the feeling of being an acclaimed speaker. They don't see themselves giving the speech. They immerse in the sensation that comes after: relief, satisfaction, gratitude for the audience's ovation, the feeling of having connected deeply. When presentation day arrives, they don't try to be charismatic. They walk toward the stage, assuming the identity of the master they've already become inside. Their body, voice, presence radiate the calm and authority of their assumed state. And the audience, by the law of resonance, responds to that certainty. The first practice, state forging. The master knows the most powerful portal to access the subconscious mind is the drowsy state, the threshold between waking and sleep, where the logical, critical mind surrenders. It's in this dark room where new realities are recorded. Their practice is the nocturnal ritual of assumption, the script. First, define with absolute clarity a short, simple scene implying your desire is already fact. Not the scene of receiving money, but the scene of a conversation with a friend where you tell them, I remember when I worried about money. Not the wedding scene, but feeling a wedding ring's familiar weight on your finger while performing a daily task. The scene must be short, first person, and above all, must evoke a feeling of naturalness and fulfillment. The immersion. Then, in bed, in night stillness, You completely relax, and once you feel yourself drifting in drowsiness, you introduce your scene. You live it, feel it. You repeat this brief imaginary act again and again, not with tense effort, but like a lullaby, like gentle cooing, until the scene's sensation becomes so real and natural, you fall asleep within it. This act, as the great Neville Goddard taught, is impregnating the subconscious. You've planted your new being's seed in the most fertile earth that exists. The second practice, the art of persistence, mental diet. Once you've assumed the new state in your night's stillness, your only job during the day is remaining loyal to it. And here is where the true battle is fought. Because upon opening your eyes, your senses world, the echo of your old state of being will present all evidence that your assumption is a lie. The master's practice is mental diet. It's the art of refusing to be seduced by your senses' evidence. When a thought of doubt or fear, a ghost of the old state, appears, you don't fight it. You acknowledge it and with sovereign calm return to your fulfilled desire sensation. You don't return to asking, don't return to trying. You simply remember the truth of who you already are inside. Persistence isn't repeating the technique again and again with anxiety. It's inhabiting the assumed state during the day. You ask yourself, how would the person who already is who I want to be move, speak, decide? And you act from that identity. Silent certainty has been revealed to you. It's the end of seeking and the beginning of being. It's the quantum shift converting you from a future beggar to a present king. You no longer chase your dreams. You embody them. And by embodying them, the universe has no choice but to reorganize around you to reflect the truth of who you've decided to be. Chapter 6. The Magnetism of Joy. The ego, when learning manifestation laws, often becomes a solemn creator. It takes itself and its creation work with deadly seriousness. Every meditation is an exam. Every day is a test. Life becomes a project to manage instead of a game to enjoy. This seriousness, though born from noble intention, is a form of resistance. It's impregnated with fear energy, fear of not doing it right, fear it won't work. It's a heavy, controlling, and ultimately counterproductive vibration. It's like an artist trying to paint a masterpiece while terrified of making a mistake. Their hand will be tense, their brushstrokes rigid, and their work will lack life's spark. True mastery, operating according to the law of reversal, transcends seriousness. It understands the universe isn't a stern foreman demanding perfection. It's an infinite playground responding to one thing: resonance. And the most resonant, magnetic, and creative frequency of all is joy. Happiness versus joy. The great distinction. To understand this principle, we must differentiate between happiness and joy. Happiness, as we've understood it, is conditional. It's a reaction to an external event. I get the job, then I'm happy. It's the prize we expect to receive at struggle's end. Joy, in contrast, is unconditional. It's not a reaction to what happens. It's a radiation emanating from our interior. It's the joy of being, the celebration of process, enjoyment of the game itself, regardless of outcome. Happiness is the destination. Joy is the vehicle. And the law of reversal teaches us you can't reach a destination of joy in a vehicle of anxiety. You must travel in joy's vehicle to arrive at happiness station. The physics and biology of joy. Joy isn't a simple, pleasant emotion. It's the optimal state for manifestation, a truth backed by consciousness physics and our body's biology. Joy as the highest frequency. If we imagine emotions on a vibrational scale, joy and happiness are at the top. They're the frequency of pure life force without obstructions. It's the vibration of expansion, infinite possibility, creation in its purest state. When you're in a state of joy, your electromagnetic signature is incredibly coherent, potent, and magnetic. Joy as maximum receptivity state. Joy is a state of total non-resistance. It's impossible to feel genuine joy while simultaneously resisting what is. Joy is a form of radical acceptance, And in this state of non-resistance, you become an open channel. Struggle ceases, control dissolves. And it's in this state of allowing, flowing, that universe intelligence can orchestrate synchronicities and opportunities in the fastest and most elegant way. Bliss biology. When you experience a state of joy, your brain and body flood with a biochemical cocktail of creation. You release endorphins, serotonin, dopamine, and anandamide, the bliss molecule. This state doesn't just make you feel good, it makes you more intelligent, creative, and intuitive. In a state of joy, your brain enters alpha wave flow, the bridge to the subconscious, where problem solutions and brilliant ideas appear effortlessly. The child's magnetism. Joy's magnetic power can be observed in its purest form in a happy child. A child completely immersed in their play's joy isn't trying to attract anything. They have no goals, no agenda. They simply radiate pure joy energy. And what happens around them? Adults are drawn to them. They want to smile at them, play with them, give them gifts. Their joy is so magnetic, it reorganizes the environment in their favor without any effort. Florence Scovel Shinn taught that the universe responds to our joy the same way. When you stop being the solemn creator and become the joyful child, the entire universe wants to come play with you. Joy isn't the reward at the path's end. It's the path itself, paved with creation energy. It's the highest frequency, the state of maximum receptivity, and the most potent magnet we possess. The first practice, deconstructing seriousness. The greatest obstacle to joy is our addiction to seriousness. The ego, the solemn creator, has convinced us that to be responsible, professional, or spiritual, we must be grave and heavy. Play, lightness, laughter are seen as frivolous luxuries, not essential components of a full life. The master's first practice is conscious cultivation of play. This doesn't necessarily mean playing games, but bringing a play attitude to everything you do. You ask yourself, how can I do this serious task with a spirit of lightness? Perhaps you put on music and dance while cleaning house. Perhaps you turn writing a report into a game to find the most elegant words. The initiate knows solemnity is ego vibration, joy is soul vibration. By consciously choosing lightness over heaviness, you're choosing your soul over your ego. The second practice, resonance hunting. The master knows joy can't be forced, but it can be invited. Their practice is becoming a resonance hunter. They use their journal not just for decrees, but as a joy journal. Each day they note 3 things, not that they're grateful for, but that brought them a moment of resonance, flow, effortless joy. What was the moment of my day today, however small, when I felt most alive, most authentic, most in flow? Perhaps it was during that conversation with a friend where they felt deep connection. Perhaps it was while solving that complex problem at work, feeling challenges pleasure. Perhaps it was while walking in the sun, for no apparent reason. Over time, this journal reveals a map of unique channels through which joy naturally flows in your life. It shows you activities, people, and environments that are a vibrational yes for your soul. And with this information, you can begin consciously designing a life containing more of these moments. The third practice, embodying future joy. Finally, the master doesn't wait for manifestation to arrive to feel joy. They feel joy so manifestation arrives. Their practice is anticipatory celebration. In their meditation, they don't just visualize their fulfilled goal, they immerse in celebration. They feel laughter bubbling in their chest, feel the smile they can't contain, dance in their imagination, feel expansive relief, overflowing gratitude, pure joy of victory. They're literally conditioning their body to triumph's biochemistry. They're becoming the tuning fork, vibrating at their already realized dream's frequency. And that vibration, that pure joy frequency, is the most magnetic signal they can send to the universe. Joy's magnetism has been revealed to you. It has stopped being a distant goal and become your compass, fuel, and way of traveling. You no longer seek joy in the world. You radiate joy to the world. And the world, like a joyful mirror, can only return the reflection of your own light. Chapter 7. The Art of Inspired Action. The ego, our separate identity, lives under a fundamental illusion, the belief that it is reality's primary motor. It believes its actions, effort, and will are the causes producing effects in the world. I make things happen. This belief is the root of the cult of effort. It's what leads us to struggle, force, manipulate, row against current, believing our journey's success depends exclusively on our arm's strength. The law of reversal that Florence Scovel Shinn taught reveals a deeper truth. The ego isn't the boat's motor. The motor is the universe, infinite intelligence, the Tao's current. The ego, in its maximum expression of wisdom, isn't the one pushing the boat, but the one directing the rudder. Action, therefore, completely changes its nature. Forced action is the ego's attempt to be the motor. It's action born from doubt, from the belief that if I don't force it, it won't happen. It's energy of distrust, contraction, and resistance. Inspired action is the rudder's movement. It's action born from trust, alignment with current. It doesn't try to create movement, it guides it. It's energy of permission, expansion, and flow. The initiate in the law of reversal stops trying to be manifestation's cause and becomes the channel through which manifestation flows. The anatomy of inspired action. To become a master of this art, you must learn to differentiate in your own body and life the texture of these two forms of action. It's a response, not an initiative. Forced action is an initiative born from logical mind. You look at your situation, analyze your problems, and create a list of things you should do. It's a plan born from the past and projected toward the future. Inspired action, in contrast, is a response. It's not born from a plan, but from a signal in the present moment. It's a response to an intuitive impulse, synchronicity, hunch. The master of the law of reversal is like an expert surfer. The surfer operating from effort would try to create a wave by splashing water with their hands. It's an absurd and exhausting act. The master surfer prepares, sits on their board, cultivates their state of being, observes the ocean, remains in a state of receptivity, and responds to the wave when it comes. Their action isn't creating the wave, but riding it. Inspired action is the art of riding the universe's waves. It's effortless, not difficult. Forced action, going against current, always feels like struggle. It's heavy, drains your energy, leaves you exhausted. Inspired action, moving with current, feels effortless. This doesn't mean there's no activity. Paddling for the wave requires energy, but it's energy that feels joyful, aligned. It's the sensation of flow, that magical state where time disappears, where you feel completely absorbed by the task and emerge more energized than when you entered. Struggle is the unmistakable signal you're misaligned. Ease is inspiration's signature. It's timely, not urgent. Forced action is born from ego impatience. It has an agenda, timeline. It wants the result now. Inspired action operates in divine time, kairos. It has a quality of perfect opportunity. The master doesn't anxiously ask, "What do I do now?" They maintain their state of being and wait for the impulse. And when the impulse comes, the sudden idea, the call they feel they must make, they act with total, immediate decision. They don't procrastinate, don't doubt, because they know that's the wave. Imagine an entrepreneur wanting to launch a new product. Forced action is creating a rigid business plan, establishing an arbitrary launch date, then working day and night, stressed, to meet that date, forcing every step of the process. Inspired action is holding the vision of the successful product in their being. One day while walking, they receive the impulse to enter a bookstore. There, casually, they find a book giving them the missing piece of their strategy. Days later, they feel the impulse to call an old contact who turns out to have the perfect connection for distribution. They launch the product not when their agenda said, but when all pieces, guided by synchronicity, have naturally fallen into place. The first practice, cultivating receptive state. The master knows the universe whispers its instructions. It doesn't shout them. Their first practice isn't seeking action, but cultivating receptivity. Silence as portal. The fundamental practice is creating perception pauses throughout their day. They gift themselves moments, even just 5 minutes, of silence and non-doing. They sit by a window, walk through a park, simply stay still and breathe. They're not meditating with an objective. They're creating a void. They know it's in this void, in this absence of ego agenda, where infinite intelligence has space to plant a new idea, whisper the next indication. Beginner's mind. They approach their day with beginner's mind. They release preconceived ideas about how things should be and open to the possibility that the universe has a better, more ingenious plan. The second practice, the body's compass. To know if an impulse is true inspired action or simple ego whim, the master consults their most faithful oracle, their own body. The practice is somatic consultation. Before embarking on important action, the initiate takes a moment, closes their eyes, brings the action idea to their mind, then brings attention to their body and asks, "How does this feel?" If the action idea creates a sensation of expansion, lightness, energy flowing forward, a yes resonating in their heart or belly, they know it's inspired action. If, conversely, the idea creates a sensation of contraction, heaviness, dull resistance, a visceral no, they know it's forced action, born from logical mind but not aligned with their soul's flow. The master learns to honor this compass above all reason's arguments. They know the body never lies. The third practice, faith in the first step. The master knows the universe rarely shows them the complete map. It shows only the next breadcrumb on the path. Their most important practice, therefore, is faith in the first step. Let's imagine the story of a man named Samuel, an artist who had assumed the state of abundance and recognition for his work, but didn't know what to do to achieve it. One day, after his meditation, he felt a clear but apparently absurd intuitive impulse. Go to the old abandoned train station. His logical mind protested, "It's crazy. What are you going to do there? It's dangerous. It's a waste of time." The old Samuel would have obeyed logic, but the new Samuel, the initiate in the law of reversal, decided to practice faith. He obeyed the impulse. He went to the station. Nothing spectacular happened. He simply felt attracted to a rusted wall's texture and took a photo with his phone. A few days later, looking at the photo, he received a second impulse. Paint this. He locked himself in his studio and for the first time in months, painted with renewed passion. Not a realistic image, but an abstraction inspired by rust's colors and textures. The painting was strange, different from anything he'd done before. He hung it in his studio and didn't know what else to do. A week later, a friend visited, and seeing the painting was breathless. She told him, "I know a gallery owner looking for exactly this style. You have to call him." Samuel, following synchronicity's current, called the gallery owner. The gallery owner, intrigued, visited his studio, and seeing the painting, his eyes lit up. He not only offered a solo exhibition, but revealed that particular rusted wall was part of a famous historic train, giving the work unexpected story and value. The exhibition was a resounding success. Samuel's manifestation didn't come through a 10-step business plan. It came through a chain of inspired actions, each apparently small and illogical, but each being the response to inner guidance he had the courage to follow. The art of inspired action has been revealed to you. It's the dissolution of struggle. It's the discovery that you don't have to move the universe. You just have to move with it. You've learned to stop being the rower struggling against current and become the surfer dancing with waves. Chapter 8. The Alchemy of Failure. The untrained mind, at this point, surrenders. It interprets the obstacle as a sign that the law doesn't work, that they're unworthy, or that their dream is impossible. They fall back into the cult of effort trap, believing they must struggle harder or abandon the path completely. But the initiate in the law of reversal knows they've just received one of the most valuable lessons, one of the universe's most direct communications. They haven't found an ending. They've found a compass. Welcome to the alchemy of failure. The ego's verdict, Failure as judgment. To understand alchemy's power, we must first understand the poison, and the poison is the ego's interpretation of failure. The ego, our separate and anxious identity, sees failure as personal verdict. It believes an action's result is a direct measure of its own worth. If the business succeeds, the ego concludes, "I'm successful, I'm worthy." If the business fails, the ego concludes, "I'm a failure, I'm unworthy." This fusion of identity with outcome is the source of immense suffering. It turns life into a courtroom where every action is a trial that can result in absolution, success, or condemnation, failure. And it's from fear of this condemnation that we often prefer not acting at all. Additionally, our culture has created a cult of success, which is the other side of the cult of effort. We glorify linear success stories, carefully edited biographies hiding stumbles, doubts, and falls. We create a collective illusion that successful people never fail. And in doing so, we turn failure, which is a natural and essential part of the growth process, into a source of toxic shame and isolation. The first and greatest of alchemical transmutations is, therefore, separating your being from the result. It's understanding at a cellular level that a failure event isn't a reflection of your worth. Just as a storm cloud isn't a reflection of the sky's worth, it's simply a weather event. Divine recalibration. Failure as message. Once you've performed this disidentification, you can begin seeing failure not as verdict, but as what it really is, a message. It's incredibly precise feedback that universal intelligence sends to guide you on your path. Florence Scovel Shinn taught that the universe doesn't punish. The universe corrects course. An obstacle, a no, a failure, isn't a sign to give up. It's divine recalibration. It's the loving, though sometimes stern hand of the universe guiding you toward your highest good. This recalibration operates in three ways. Failure as redirection. Sometimes a door slamming shut isn't punishment, it's protection. Our conscious mind, with its limited vision, often fixates on a very specific way it believes its desire must manifest. But universal intelligence, seeing the complete tapestry, may know that particular path, long-term, isn't for our highest good. Failure to get that specific job you so desired may be the universe protecting you from a toxic work environment that would have destroyed your spirit. The relationship that didn't work, however much it hurt, may have been a redirection preventing you from committing to a person not aligned with your true being. The principle of non-resistance teaches us that if a path requires constant, brutal, soul-draining effort, it's often the wrong path. Failure on that path is often the universe's invitation to pause and seek a door that opens with more ease, one more aligned with your soul's flow. Failure. As lesson. Other times, the path is correct, but we're not yet ready for it. Failure, in this case, isn't redirection, but lesson. It's the exam showing you exactly what skill, strength, or wisdom you need to acquire before moving to the next level. An entrepreneur whose first business fails has two options. They can interpret it as verdict. I'm not made for this. Or as lesson. I just received an intensive master's degree on what doesn't work. Perhaps they needed to learn financial management. Perhaps they needed to develop better communication skills. Perhaps they needed to heal a subconscious belief of unworthiness. Failure, seen from this perspective, isn't defeat. It's the most valuable and personalized consulting you'll ever receive. It shows you with surgical precision the cracks in your foundation and gives you opportunity to repair them before building a bigger edifice. Failure as strengthening. Finally, suffering and failure are character's gymnasium. Nietzsche's famous phrase, "What doesn't kill me makes me stronger," is an alchemical truth. It's in adversity's fire where ego dross burns, our arrogance, naivety, attachment. And from those ashes is born a more humble, resilient, and wise self. You can't know your strength's true depth until you've been tested. You can't develop true compassion until you've known true pain. Failure is the hero's initiation. the journey to the underworld from which you return with the treasure of character forged in fire. The first practice: sacred pause, honoring feeling. The alchemist doesn't repress failure's pain. They know transmutation requires energy, and emotion is energy. Their first act isn't thinking positive, but honoring feeling. Acceptance. When facing failure, allow yourself to feel disappointment, sadness, or frustration. Don't judge yourself for it. Fighting your feelings is a form of resistance that only intensifies them. Somatic observation. Instead of getting lost in failure's story, "I'm useless," bring attention to emotion's physical sensation in your body. Observe chest tightness or stomach knot with detached curiosity. In doing so, you separate emotion's pure energy from ego's toxic narrative. The second practice: the alchemical question. Seeking gold. Once you've honored and allowed emotion, the alchemist takes their most powerful tool. Their tool isn't a shovel, but a question. Their practice is transformative inquiry. They take their journal and, instead of writing a lament story, begin dialogue with experience. They ask themselves the 4 alchemical questions. What's the lesson here? Every failure contains a wisdom seed. What skill were you lacking? What knowledge were you ignoring? What aspect of your character needs strengthening? Failure is the most effective teacher, but only if we're willing to be its students. What limiting belief has this event revealed? Often, failure is nothing more than a subconscious beliefs reflection. Perhaps the business failed because deep down you believed you didn't deserve success. Failure is free diagnosis, showing you exactly what part of your internal programming needs rewriting. How has this experience made me stronger? Force yourself to find evidence of your growth. It's made you more resilient, humble, compassionate. Recognizing strength born from fire is the first step to reclaiming it. Toward what greater good might this no be redirecting me? This is faith's question. It's the act of trusting this closed door is divine redirection. Perhaps this no is protecting you from a path that wasn't for you, so you can find the one that is. The third practice: gratitude reframing. Finally, the alchemist performs the supreme magic act. They transform poison into medicine through gratitude. Their practice is gratitude for the obstacle. This may seem impossible at first, but once you've answered the alchemical questions and found the lesson, strength, and possible redirection, now you have something to be genuinely grateful for. Your declaration is no longer one of defeat, but power. I'm grateful for this failure because it taught me the lesson. I'm grateful for this obstacle because it made me stronger. I'm grateful for this closed door because I trust it's guiding me toward the open door perfect for me. This isn't false optimism. It's the final act of extracting every last drop of value from experience and closing the emotional loop. Failure's alchemy has been revealed to you. Failure is no longer your enemy. It has become your wisest counselor. The obstacle is no longer a wall, it's the path. You've learned not to fear falls because you know each fall is an opportunity to rise stronger, wiser, and more aligned with your true destiny. Chapter 9. The Language of Permission. In more superficial manifestation teachings, we're often presented with a creation model that is, in essence, a metaphysical version of the cult of effort. We're told we must project our will onto the universe, that we must bombard the quantum field with our images and affirmations until it surrenders and delivers what we want. In this model, visualization becomes an act of force, intense, and often tense concentration. Affirmation becomes mechanical repetition, an attempt to convince a recalcitrant subconscious. This is the wrong magician's mentality. It still operates from the paradigm of separation and struggle. There's an I here that desires something, and a universe there that must be forced. And as we know, everything born from effort and force by the law of reversal creates a counterforce of resistance. The great inversion, from projection to reception. Florence Scovel Shinn, initiated in the law of reversal, understood a much more elegant truth. The universe isn't an enemy to conquer. It's a partner yearning to co-create with you. Your job isn't forcing a new reality, but allowing the reality that's already yours on the invisible plane to manifest. Therefore, the use of visualization and affirmations is completely inverted. They're no longer tools to send an order. They're tools to receive a truth. They're no longer acts of projection. They're acts of attunement. Imagine the quantum field as a vast network of radio stations. All possible realities, that of your perfect health, your abundance, your love, are already broadcasting their signal right now. Your mind isn't a radio projector trying to create a new station. It's a radio receiver. Visualization is the act of searching the infinite dial for the frequency of the station you choose to hear. Elevated emotion is the act of fine-tuning until the signal is clear and static-free. And affirmation is the act of putting the station name on your mental screen, constantly reminding yourself what frequency you've chosen to live on. From this perspective, manifestation stops being struggle and becomes an art of receptivity. Visualization as attunement. When the wrong magician visualizes, they project an image from their mind outward. Often this creates a sensation of longing that the image is there and they are here. The master of the law of reversal doesn't project anything. In their meditation, they become silent, receptive, and instead of creating an image, they allow the image of their fulfilled desire, which already exists as potentiality in the field, to emerge in their consciousness. It's not an act of doing, but allowing to be seen. It's like tuning the radio and waiting for music to begin playing. Affirmation as remembrance. The wrong magician uses affirmations to try convincing themselves of a truth they don't feel. I am rich, I am rich, I am rich, they repeat, while their heart screams with fear. The master of the law of reversal understands affirmation isn't for convincing, but remembering. The I am state is recognition of a truth already existing in your essential being. When you declare, I am abundance, you're not trying to become something you're not. You're remembering your true nature, which is abundance, and sweeping away scarcity beliefs' cobwebs. An affirmation from this perspective isn't a petition, it's a royal decree. A king doesn't try to convince themselves they're a king. They simply speak and act from that identity. Feeling as the click of attunement. Finally, the feeling of fulfilled desire, which we've explored as fire and ink, acquires new meaning in the language of allowing. It's no longer an emotion you have to generate with effort. It's the click you feel when the radio dial has found the perfect station. It's the unmistakable signal you've achieved attunement. It's the resonance occurring naturally when your individual consciousness aligns with universal mind's frequency. You don't create the feeling. You allow it to emerge like warmth emanating from a fire you've found, not one you're struggling to light. The first practice. Visualization as reception. The master doesn't project an image with their will's force. They become a silent receiver. Their practice is meditative attunement. Creating the void. You begin by entering the fertile void we already know. You sit in silence. You calm your mind through breathing. You release wanting and trying energy. You create a space of pure receptivity. Gentle attunement. Instead of forcing a detailed image of your desire, you simply hold your desire's concept or essence in your consciousness as a silent question to the universe. Perfect health, financial freedom, harmonious love, image reception, and you wait. You open and allow an image, symbol, or scene to come to you from universal intelligence's field. You receive the blueprint. You don't force draw it. Often the image the universe sends you is much more potent and symbolically rich than your logical mind could have invented. Feeling as confirmation. When the image arrives, you don't analyze it. You simply feel it. Does it bring you a sensation of peace, resonance, a deep yes in your being? If so, you've tuned to the correct frequency. You've found the station. The second practice. Affirmation as resonance. The master doesn't use affirmation to convince themselves of something they're not. They use it to resonate with a truth already existing in their essential being. The practice isn't mechanical repetition, but vibrational intonation. You take your decree, your affirmation. I am, for example, I am abundance. You don't repeat it like a parrot for your brain to believe it. You whisper it in your meditation silence and then listen. You feel those words' vibration in your body. You feel how they resonate in your chest, in your cells. You become the instrument being tuned by the word, not the musician forcing it. Affirmation becomes a tuning fork. You use it to tune your state of being to the frequency of the truth you're declaring. The third practice, the art of open channel. Once attunement is complete, once you've found the station and are resonating with the music, the master doesn't cling to the signal. They trust the transmission. Their practice is keeping the channel open. This is the art of living from the end we've already explored. It's the act of walking through your day with the serene confidence of someone who has the radio permanently tuned to their favorite station. You're not constantly checking the dial, seeking proof. You're not worried the station will disappear. You're simply enjoying the music, the feeling of your already fulfilled desire, knowing the transmission is constant and clear. The language of allowing has been revealed to you. You've learned to stop being the struggling magician and become the wise one who attunes. Your creation tools are no longer weapons of force, but instruments of resonance. And in that resonance, you find true effortless power. Chapter 10. Living in the Inversion. Now we arrive at the path's end, which is paradoxically the true beginning. The moment of final integration, the moment you stop practicing the law of reversal and become it. Welcome to the art of living in the inversion. From doing to being, the dissolution of practice. The conscious creation journey has two great stages. The first is doing. It's the student stage, the alchemist in their workshop. In this phase, we practice. We practice meditation to create void, practice assumption of fulfilled desire, practice attunement with joy. These practices are the necessary scaffolding to build a new consciousness edifice. They're essential, but every scaffolding's objective isn't remaining forever. It's being removed once the building is solid. The second stage, mastery, is being. The person living in inversion no longer needs to practice surrender. They simply are a surrendered being. They no longer need to practice certainty. They simply are a certain being. Joy isn't a state they cultivate. It's the atmosphere they breathe. Conscious effort to apply the law dissolves into a state of being. Philosophy has become physiology. Knowledge has become character. You've become the law itself. The three qualities of an inverted life. The life of a person who has embodied the law of reversal radiates three unmistakable qualities. The quality of unshakable peace. The first and most fundamental quality of this state is deep peace independent of circumstances. It's not peace coming from everything in life being perfect. It's peace remaining even when everything seems to crumble. It's the deep ocean's calm, unaffected by the storm raging on the surface. This peace is born from cellular trust in the universe. You've stopped seeing life as an adversary to defeat. You've recognized it as a friendly intelligence always conspiring in your favor, even when its methods are mysterious. The war between your ego's desire to control and your soul's wisdom to flow has ended. A peace treaty has been signed, and that inner peace's result is outer serenity no storm can disturb. The quality of playful creation. The creator operating from effort is solemn and serious. Their work is a burden. The master of the law of reversal, in contrast, is a playful creator. Having found fullness in their own being, they no longer need their manifestations to complete them. And this, paradoxically, makes them the most powerful creator. They understand the truth Indian sages called Lila, divine play. They know the universe isn't a serious problem to solve, but a work of art to create. They play their roles in the world with total excellence and presence, but with inner lightness. They know it's a sacred game. This perspective frees them from personal importance as tyranny and gives them freedom to be bold, creative, to fail with a smile and try again, not as effort to arrive, but as expression of the joy of being. The quality of magnetic grace. Finally, the master's life is impregnated with a quality non-initiates call luck. It's grace. Opportunities seem to flow toward them effortlessly. The right people appear at the perfect moment. Problem solutions manifest in unexpected and miraculous ways. But this isn't luck, it's physics. It's the natural consequence of living in a state of non-resistance. By living in a state of being joyful, surrendered, and certain, you become a high-frequency vortex. And the universe, by the law of resonance, must bring you experiences corresponding to that vibration. Grace isn't a gift the universe gives you. It's the reflection of grace you've cultivated in your own heart. The embodiment of principles. The initiate in the law of reversal no longer clings to techniques. Techniques, surrender ritual, assumption workshop, joy hunting, were necessary scaffolding to build their new consciousness palace. They were training to unlearn effort habits. Once the palace is finished and inhabited, scaffolding is removed. Practice is no longer something you do for 15 minutes in the morning. It becomes something you are every moment of the day. Lives beyond effort, lives in natural wu-wei state. They don't have to try not to effort. Their body compass, now tuned, naturally guides them along the path of least resistance. Struggle feels as alien to their being as trying to breathe underwater. Lives beyond asking. The master no longer decrees with the same need as the apprentice. Their entire life is a decree. Their state of being, that silent, joyful certainty, is the most potent and constant order the universe can receive. Lives in fertile void, lives with one foot in the world of form and another in fertile void silence. They maintain constant connection with Source, allowing inspiration to guide their actions spontaneously and perfectly. Lives in silent certainty. Their natural state is silent certainty. They don't have to practice faith. Their confidence in the law and themselves is as fundamental as their own breathing. Lives in joy. Their joy doesn't depend on their manifestations arriving. Their joy is what makes their manifestations arrive. Lives in inspired action. Their actions aren't born from anxious analysis, but intuitive response to the present moment. They become the dance itself. Lives the alchemy. They see every apparent failure not as mistake, but as exquisite part of divine choreography, recalibration always guiding them toward greater good. Lives the allowing. Their life becomes an open channel. They've stopped trying to control the universe, and in doing so have allowed the universe to shower them with its grace. Living in inversion isn't reaching a static state of perfection. It's the beginning of a life lived as art. It's the endless dance between being and doing, between silence and symphony. Conclusion: the end of struggle. Our journey began with heresy, with the bold declaration that everything we've been taught about power and achievement is inverted. We departed as devotees of the cult of effort, believing life was a battle to be won through force. And throughout this manual, we've undertaken a silent revolution. In the first part, we dismantled force's illusions. We discovered resistance physics, understanding how our desperate wanting creates counterforce, and exposed asking's fraud, lack's prayer that can only manifest more lack. Then, in the second part, we were initiated into non-doing principles. We immersed ourselves in wu-wei's fertile void, surrender's power. We performed the quantum shift from I want to I am through assumption's silent certainty, and discovered joy's magnetism as rapid manifestation's frequency. Finally, in the third part, we entered the master's workshop. We mastered inspired action art. We learned to find the gift in failure's alchemy and tuned our tools not to force, but to allow. And we integrated everything into the art of living in inversion. The war has ended. Not because you've defeated an external enemy, but because you've abandoned the battle against yourself. You've stopped fighting against life's river current. Florence Scovel Shinn taught us the law of reversal isn't a technique to apply, it's a state of being to embody. Living in inversion is living in a state of grace. It's not a life without action, but a life where action flows from a place of alignment, not anxiety. It's not a life without challenges, but a life where challenges are seen as recalibrations, not punishments. It's not a life without desire, but a life where desire is joyful play, not desperate pursuit. You're no longer the rower struggling against current, exhausting strength in useless battle. You've realized you and the current are one. You are the flow. Your soul's desire and the universe's desire to express itself through you are the same single song. Your learning journey has ended. Your true life, a life of effortless power, begins now. Your practice is no longer technique, but remembrance. In every moment, when you feel the old, seductive temptation of effort, struggle, worry, pause, breathe, and remember the law of reversal. Release, surrender, assume your fulfilled desires feeling, and watch how the universe rushes to serve one who has stopped getting in their own way. Your question is no longer, how do I get it? Your question is, with how much grace can I allow it to arrive? If this metaphysical secret has ended your inner struggle and awakened the flow master residing in you, we invite you to continue this exploration. Subscribe to our channel for more liberating wisdom. Each subscriber strengthens this network of conscious creators who have discovered effortless manifestation's power. By subscribing, you don't just receive knowledge, you become part of an invisible brotherhood of souls who have chosen grace's path over struggle's path. Like this video as a declaration of your struggle's end. Share this knowledge with someone who needs to release the oars and trust the current. Write in the comments, I accept the law of reversal to seal your commitment to this new way of living. Thank you for your time, for your courage to unlearn, and for the brave decision to reclaim your birthright to a life of power, grace, and effortless creation. The struggle has ended. The flow has begun. May the law of reversal guide you toward manifesting your greatest dreams, not through effort, but through the grace of allowing the universe to dance with you in perfect harmony.